you know you're having a good day when it's day 6 and you start talking to the video and then you get like halfway into it and then you realize the microphone ain't on. That's how you know you're having a good day. You know what I'm saying? All right, we got our coffee this morning. Let's go, Jared. Here we go. Boom, pulling for you, buddy. All right, people, day 6. How we doing today? How we doing? It's almost at the end of the, hey, it is at the end of the first week. How about that? We've been doing great. How you feel? Feels like we just started, don't it? Crazy. How about that? Now, think about what we done this week. We stoked the fire, okay? Number 1, you got to stoke that fire. Get excited. Find things that get you excited. What has gotten you excited this week that you've seen? Can you tell me? Drop it in the comments, all right? Maybe you saw a painting. Maybe you saw a sunset. Maybe you saw a really cool car. I don't know. Maybe you saw some fashion drawings. I mean, those are fantastic, right? Now, you got to keep that fire stoked, and that's what we're doing. Now, the second thing we've done is we bridled that critical eye, okay? Now, I want you to think about a time this week where you did it successfully, where you bridled that eye, and you said, not today, eye, not right now. Think about that. Throw it down in the comments if you did, because you know what? If you did it once, you can do it twice. If you can do it twice, you can do it all the time. Think about that. You just changed. That's proof. Proof right there in the pudding that you changed. And that's exciting, right? That's evolution right there. That's exciting, okay? Now, I wanted to mention one other thing. When it comes to preparing, you know, your psychology and your body and all that stuff when we get ready to draw. Because you got to have all this in line, because if you try to improve with the tools and then that critical eye comes in and wrecks the house like a house of cards and everything falls down, well, that doesn't really have anything to do with you trying to get better at drawing. That just has to do with you trying to get more disciplined in your thought process. And I can't tell you the amount of times that I was doing a good drawing and I had some little mistake happen and I got all frustrated and the critical eye came in and told me it sucked and I agreed with them, and then I went ahead and destroyed my drawing or my painting or whatever. I had put in like 3 to 6 hours in the beginning, and then because of that I got all down on myself, and then I let the rest of the 3 hours go into just terribleness, and it was torture, and I put myself in the basement. And it didn't have nothing to do with drawing. It had to do with how I was thinking. It had to do with my thought process. It had to do with my discipline. Well, there's one other thing you got to get a hold of. And nobody ever thinks about this. Nobody talks about this. But your body is a medium that you conduct your ideas and your emotions, and it comes out in your fingertips, and it goes into your drawing pad, or it goes into your canvas with your painting, or something like that. And that's the excitement and anxiety or frustration that's inside of your body when you sit down to draw or paint. Now, I would have that excitement because I would get down, I'd be like, oh, we're gonna get this fantastic landscape painting done, a little thumbnail or plein air. I'm out there on location, I'm painting, and I'm all excited. I start mixing I lay it out and I start mixing the paint, and I start going faster and faster and faster, and then that excitement turns to anxiety, which acts like a sledgehammer beating the hell out of that painting, okay? And then when I come away and I'm at the end of the session and I look down on it, I got me a bloody pulp right there, you know? A mess. It ain't even a good painting. All of that potential flew out the window because I was so excited, and then it turned to anxiety, and then it fucking flew out the window. Now, what I want you to do is I want you to get rid of all that anxiety or excitement. Sometimes you got to take a walk. Sometimes you got to do some sit-ups. Sometimes you can just do breathing. Calm yourself down. And remember that slow, deliberate marks on the paper are much better than fast, exaggerated lines. Okay? Be deliberate with what you put down. Because when people come to look at it later, nobody's going to know how fast or how slow it was done. They're only going to know was it done with care or was it done with abandon. And you want to care about your drawing. You want to care about your sketchbook. You want to care about your painting. Because that's who you are. You're caring about yourself when you care about it. So you want to take a couple deep breaths. Get relaxed. I call it relaxed potential. Get your body in a state of relaxed potential. That means you're relaxed and you're ready to accurately put down the marks that are going to convey the excitement, the idea, the creativity that's in your mind on the paper. That's real important. That took me a long time to figure out because ain't nobody told me that. That's serious right there. Okay? Now, once you get all these things around your body and your mind and all that stuff that they don't tell you about under control, you're ready. You're ready for creativity. You're ready to tap into the creativity that's out there, that's beyond all of us, that's going to come in like a freight train into your mind. You'll have so much creativity coming in that you'll be doing a recipe one day and you'll be thinking about how to make this other story over here better. Or you'll be driving in the car and you'll think, you know what, if I do this to my cinnamon rolls, they'll be 10 times better. Or creativity be coming from everywhere. Like, for example, I did this sketchbook last night. I did an idea. You know, I thought about mint salad. She's out with her rest of her gang or something in Tokyo and they're doing a deal or something. I don't know. But then from that one image, it could spawn an entire story. Get your mind going. Well, how does a group of women come together in Tokyo in the first place? What are they doing there? What would hold a group of women together to work towards some sort of deal? How did they get in the underground of the Yakuza in Tokyo? What were they selling? What were they trafficking? What were they doing? And then all these things come to light. And then you start to think, well, how would women behave? You know, how would you write a woman? How would you write a powerful woman? You know, how would they be surprising? How would they get the drop on these powerful men and then put the blade to their neck? That's a story that I'm interested in. That's a story about a woman who is going to become cunning, who's going to use her sexual wiles to, you know, compromise another man in order to pounce upon the opportunity. That's interesting. That's creative right there. So just in that little thought spawns all these ideas that creativity can then become a platform for you to dive off into this whole entire other world. You see what I'm saying? That's what relaxed potential does. That's what bridling that critical eye does. Because you know that critical eye wants to come in and say, oh, nobody cares about that. Nobody wants to see that. Women, no, too many women. No. Put that eye, say, critical eye, go sit in the corner for a while. Leave me alone. You know what I'm saying? And then stoke that fire. Maybe you watch Kill Bill. Maybe you see something else about women with swords or something like that. And then take that fire and put that into your story. And then build the story. And then see what happens. You'll be surprised. All right, let's get out.